Welcome back to the news at 10. Resolving the challenge of unemployment in Nigeria should not be left to the government alone. That's according to Managing Director of Livelihood Support Initiative, Kelly Mogu. Mr. Mogu is asking private organizations to create avenues through which the nation's youth can be gainfully employed. He said this in Lagos at a forum on skills development and financial assistance.
Empowerment tools, including sewing machines, hair dryers, shoemaking gears and wheelchairs are handed out to the physically challenged. Livelihood Support Initiative, a non-profit arm of Livelihood Homes Limited, wants these physically challenged youths to be self-reliant by developing skills to set up their own businesses. The initiator of the project believes that this will also discourage beneficiaries from begging or getting involved in crime.
There are over 23 million disabled people in Nigeria. I was born and raised by a crippled woman. Imagine that my mother could not send me to school. I could have ended up to become an armed robber, a kidnapper, or whatever crime I may be involved in. If we do not want crime in our society, it is time for us to consider the disabled people and see how we can start helping them now so that crime can be reduced in our country, Nigeria.
Besides the empowerment tools, the beneficiaries have been promised land space and financial assistance to set up small-scale and agro-allied businesses.
Let us do agriculture for them and make them well established. If they have farmlands and they start producing crops between now and the end of the year, I believe that Nigeria will be a better place for them. A lot of them requested for 100,000 naira, some of them requested for 80,000 naira. Imagine 100,000 naira, what it can do for someone's life.
I feel very happy that what Doctor has done to us. Actually, he try his best to us who is disabled. Actually, if there is people like him here in Nigeria, actually disabled of Nigeria can never suffer like this.
With support from local and foreign organizations, Livelihood Support Initiative is hoping to raise up to 100 billion naira to expand the project.
Okay, no problem.
Learning from the disappointments of 2016, the Ministry of Sports in Nigeria says preparations for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics will begin from the second quarter of this year. Sports followers in the country have described last year's experience as poor and want an improvement. In this special report, our sports correspondent, Austin Okonakpan, reviews Nigeria's major sporting events in 2016 and the lessons for this year.
2016 was a busy year for sports, and that's because we witnessed the Olympics and the Paralympics.
Most populous nation, Nigeria.
Nigerians didn't expect so much from their team as poor preparations and funding issues ruled the pre-Olympic stage.
We worked so hard for the last 4 years, some of us last 8 years, and we get here, we're getting no support. We're running around chasing for money that we're owed. But suffice it to say, it's very frustrating.
But somehow, Nigerian athletes made some headlines at the games. Chierika Okogu, Segun Toriola, and Aaron Okwadri deserve some mention.
In table tennis, the world least expected to have an African going that far to play quarterfinals.
I really got a lot of support from the Nigerian people. That's really been helpful on Twitter, on social media. They really support me, and it just took my all to make it to the semifinals. So I'm excited.
The 2016 games exposed the decline of some sports in the country. This is the National Boxing Gym in Lagos. Now you know why only one boxer could qualify for the Olympics.
Since the death of Ayanote, everything about this hostel and the development of gym here got dead.
Wonderful moment.
But for a consolatory bronze from football, Nigeria would have left the 2016 Olympics without a medal.
He sets it up 3-0, and That surely is the bronze medal.
Motoring up onto the stage now for her.
The Paralympics changed the story for Nigeria. Despite their constant appeal for support, the special athletes broke records and left the competition with 8 gold, 2 silver and 2 bronze medals.
Well, how much strength does she have? Well, she goes up into the gold medal position. Unbelievable lifting.
The specially challenged athletes have always put our names on the world map. So what we need to do, we need to build, we need to consolidate on their success and try to make them have a feeling and try to give them that human face, give special sports a human face.
Nigerians love football, but 2016 didn't bring joy as the Super Eagles failed again to qualify for the African Cup of Nations.
It's been a year of mixed blessings, so to speak, you know. We did not qualify for AFCON. You know, I was particularly very pained, very livid about it. It was something that we could avoid.
To the captain of Nigeria.
The Super Falcons made it a year to remember. They did a great job by winning the African Women's Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The ladies were expecting more celebrations when they returned home, but that didn't happen. They left the podium to the streets to protest unpaid allowances and bonuses. With proper planning and good management, the problems of Nigerian sports in 2016 would have been avoided. Well, 2017 provides another opportunity for us to correct those wrongs. But there is an unanswered question. Is the country ready? Austin Okonakpan, Channels Television News.
To answer those questions, I'm being joined at the news at 10 now by the President of the Nigeria Wheelchair Basketball Association and the Chief Executive Officer of the newly constituted Board of the Nigeria National League, Mr. Bukola Olopade. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, viewers.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. That's right. We're just seeing for the first time. 2016, we saw a lot of focus on football. And do you think that was all to the detriment of other sports?
Well, I mean, as a president of a sport that is considered a lesser sport, I would ordinarily have agreed with that statement. But the truth is, I've come to accept that fingers can never be equal. Football remains the flagship sport that brings our country together at every given time. It's the most important sport to our country. So I don't think so. I think what we need to focus more on is that we can also elevate the status of other sports according to their own different level and grades, not just ignoring the fact that these sports are in existence.
Do you feel that those other sports were ignored in 2016?
Always. I mean, look, we're talking about 2016. This happened in 2015, 2014. It will happen in 2017 until the mentality the National Sports Commission or the Ministry of Sports changes, and until the private sector starts to understand that there are so many lesser sports that can also give you mileage in terms of visibility, in terms of activation, in terms of how people project their products on those various platforms. Until they start seeing the positive aspects of those other sports, we're just going to remain static, and lesser sports, as they call them, will continue to suffer.
I feel one of those lesser sports you're talking about is probably special athletics, which the athletes, whose athletes did very well in 2016, the 2016 Paralympics. What can be done to improve special sports in Nigeria?
Look, I've come to the station countless times to appeal to the world. Look, there are two things you get from supporting special people. One is God's blessing. Two is the fact that all the sports that are associated with the Paralympic movement are all very exciting sports. And the more we continue to ignore the sports, the more we continue to deprive the people who need the support the most. But guess what? It is this same aspect of sports, these same people that have brought the biggest and best laurels to our country that we celebrate only during Commonwealth years, All African Games, and at the Paralympics. Yeah. Nobody talks about them in the years in between those events. It's sad. We need to wake up and smell the morning coffee and realize that we cannot continue to pay lip service to special people. across board, not only in sports. All our buildings are not wheelchair accessible. Federal buildings, state buildings, and we need to change our attitude towards that.
And I'm going to turn back to one of the most popular sports in 2016, which was football. Now, league football is on the rise. How can we sustain that momentum?
We must. I thought we were going to talk about the negative and positives of 2016. One of the biggest positives of 2016 was the league management company headed by Shehu Diko, with the way the league has been managed, and the fact that a club side that is rooted in traditional football, clean football, devoid of crowd violence, devoid of approaching referees. Rangers International of Enugu won the league. How can we work a level on that? Look, I've been made the CEO of the league that is arguably the most important league in the country, because that's the league that bridges the amateur cadre and the elite cadre. We need to leverage on what the LMC have done and surpass it. The private sector, people in the private sector, they've seen now that there are men and women of integrity that can handle these sports and elevate the status of the sports to the level that there will be trust, mutual trust between one another. I'm not losing hope, because when you look at the Lagos City Marathon, for example, a lot of sponsors are supporting that aspect of sports. It simply means there's some sort of confidence flowing from the private sector now towards sports. We need to continue to talk more. We need to trust one another and just see how sports can continue to be a veritable tool of empowerment for our young people, men and women.
Are these your projections for solutions to sports, both the ones that have been ignored and the ones that are the most popular in 2017?
What are my projections? Well, my projection will still be based on the attitude of administrators and businesses towards the support to this. But look, there is no magic that you can perform when sports are not well prepared for competitions. Until we start to understand that there must be proper planning, there must be support across board, there is no way you can be expecting something based on nothing. You cannot go to the farm to plant corn and expect yam to be harvested at the end of the day. Unfortunately, that is where we are today. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's still early on in the year. Hopefully, those who should be are listening to you right now. I'm a pathological optimist. I believe 2017 will be good for us. Thank you so much, Mr. Bukola Olopade. Always a pleasure. Bukola Olopade, the president of the Nigeria Wheelchair Basketball Association and the chief executive officer of the newly constituted board of the Nigeria National League. Next on the news at 10, there will be more on sports as English Premier League sides Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur get easy ride to the fourth round of the English FA Cup. Please stay with us.